Imagine this. It's like a Saturday afternoon, maybe back in the 60s. You hear this sound first, right? This deep, guttural rumble. A V8.
Yeah.
And the sun hits it all chrome and curves. It's just visceral.
It really is.
And for listeners who, like getting right to the point, those aha moments, that's exactly what we're aiming for in this deep dive.
The golden age of American muscle cars.
Exactly.
It's an era that, well, it still holds this fascination, doesn't it? These aren't just lumps of metal. There's a certain power there.
Right.
And this dive, it's based on exploring that unstoppable allure. It's not just about, how fast they went.
No.
We're digging into why they became such a huge part of the American scene, and I think there might be a few surprises in there.
Okay, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
So our mission today, let's say, is to kind of get under the hood, beyond the nostalgia, and really understand what fueled this obsession America had with these automotive beasts. You saw one and you just knew.
You absolutely knew.
So when did this whole horsepower thing really ignite? What time frame are we talking about here?
Primarily, you're looking at the late 1950s, maybe kicking off then, but really hitting its stride through the 1960s and into the early 70s.
Okay.
Think of it as like a perfect storm. The economy was growing. You had this whole generation hungry for excitement. And, well, the American car companies, they sensed it.
They saw an opening.
Yeah, they were ready to deliver speed, but also style. They wrapped it all up in one package.
And there's usually one car that gets pointed to as the first real one, the one that kind of set the template, the Pontiac GTO.
Ah, the GTO, yeah, 1964. It's often credited, and, for good reason.
What was the big deal?
Well, the formula was actually pretty clever. You take a standard mid-size car, something fairly sensible, right?
Right.
And then you drop in a much bigger, much more powerful engine, a V8 usually.
Simple but effective.
Exactly. And it wasn't just about going fast in a straight line, though. Believe me, it did that.
Oh, I bet.
It was about making that kind of performance accessible and maybe, a little bit rebellious, too. It really changed what people thought an American car could be.
Okay, so the GTO kicks the door open, and then I guess the floodgates just opened.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Suddenly it felt like everyone wanted in on the action.
So you get the icons, the Ford Mustang, the Chevy Camaro, the Dodge Charger.
Legends, all of them. And they each kind of carved out their own territory, didn't they?
How so? What made them different, apart from the badge?
Well, they all shared that basic muscle car idea, big engine, sporty feel, but they had their own personalities. The Mustang, for instance, really nailed that youthful freedom vibe, and it was, relatively speaking, more affordable.
Right, the pony car thing.
Exactly. The Camaro, though, that was Chevy's answer, often seen as a bit more refined, maybe better handling to go with the power, a direct GTO competitor.
Okay.
And the Charger, man, that car just looked mean in a good way.
Yeah, imposing.
It had this presence, maybe a bit more mature, a slightly more outlaw kind of feel to it. Different flavors for different people, all under that muscle car umbrella.
Now, you don't get cars like this without some visionary people behind them. Names like John Z. DeLorean at Pontiac or Carroll Shelby working with Ford.
Key figures, absolutely essential.
Well, what was their secret sauce? What did they bring?
Well, what's really interesting is they weren't just engineers obsessed with horsepower numbers. I mean, they were brilliant engineers, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But they also had this incredible feel for the American public, for the culture. DeLorean, he saw people wanted power, yeah, but also style, something usable day to day.
Right. Practicality still factored in.
To a degree. Shelby, though.
Yeah.
He was more about raw, unadulterated performance, taking a good car and just turning everything up to 11 speed, handling the whole experience.
Pure adrenaline.
Pretty much. Both of them understood these cars were statements. They weren't just about getting around. They were about who you were, or maybe who you wanted to be.
So it tapped into something deeper than just transportation. It was aspiration, identity. Especially with everything else going on culturally back then.
Exactly. Think about the 60s, the changes happening. These cars, so bold, so loud, they kind of mirrored that.
A bit rebellious.
Definitely. They were a departure from the button-down 50s. They represented freedom, maybe breaking the rules a little, expressing yourself loud and clear.
Let's talk about that loud and clear part. Beyond the engines, the look was crucial, right? Those long hoods, the aggressive sort of stance.
Oh, absolutely. Aesthetics were huge. And functional, too, sometimes.
How so?
Well, those long hoods, yeah, they needed to fit the big engines. But they also just looked fast, gave the car a sense of motion, even standing still.
Right, made it look like it was lunging forward.
Precisely. And the overall aggressive stance, the lower profile, It wasn't just for show. It helped with aerodynamics, stability at speed, even if subtly. But mostly, it was about projecting power visually.
And then there's the sound, that V8 rumble we talked about. It's iconic.
It's unmistakable, isn't it? That sound wasn't an accident. It was engineered.
You mean deliberately tuned?
To an extent, yes. The engine displacement, those big block V8s, the design of the exhaust manifolds, the mufflers, even the camshaft, it all played a part in creating that specific deep, throaty growl.
Wow.
It was a core part of the experience. It wasn't just noise, it was like the car's voice. Even at idle, it sounded powerful, ready to go, a symphony of controlled explosions, really.
It's funny how much people then wanted to tweak them even further. That whole personalization thing, performance packages, stripe, scoop.
Oh yeah, that was massive. The manufacturers leaned into it. Buying a muscle car wasn't just picking a model, it was choosing your options.
Like building your own dream machine.
Kind of. You could get different engine tunes, suspension upgrades, performance tires. Those were the performance packages. And then the visual stuff, racing stripes, hood scoops, spoilers, mag wheels.
Making it unique.
Exactly, making it yours. It was about expressing your individual taste.
You can definitely see the roots of today's huge aftermarket tuning and customization scene right there.
Absolutely. If you connect the dots, that desire to personalize your ride, make it stand out, make it reflect you. A lot of that culture was really cemented during the muscle car era.
It turned the car from just a machine into, well, a statement, a status symbol even.
A very loud, very fast status symbol, yes.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. For someone listening, maybe getting intrigued by all this history, how can they actually connect with this world today? Experience a bit of it.
That's a great point. It's not just history locked away in books. The easiest way, go to a car show or a swap meet.
See them in the metal.
Yeah. Talk to the owners. You'll find they love sharing stories. Swap meets are amazing too. You can find rare parts, memorabilia, just soak in the atmosphere.
What about joining clubs?
Definitely. Muscle car clubs are fantastic for community. You get organized drives, tech workshops, shared knowledge. It's a great way to learn and connect with people who share that passion.
And for the really ambitious, restoration, getting your hands dirty.
Ah, the restoration project. It can be incredibly fulfilling, like bringing history back to life.
But it sounds like a massive undertaking.
It absolutely is. Patience is key, lots of it, and attention to detail. Plus, you need the right tools. Investing in quality tools makes a huge difference. Don't skimp there.
Good tip.
And, learning the lingo helps too. Understanding what a big block is, or camber, or torque. It just deepens your appreciation and helps you talk the talk.
So it's about immersing yourself. Now, it's not all just about perfectly preserving museum pieces, is it? Are there more modern takes on this?
That's what's really interesting now. The passion is evolving. You see things like electric conversions.
Putting electric motors in classic muscle cars.
Yeah. It's controversial for some purists, maybe, but it blends that iconic style with modern tech, sustainability. It's a different way to keep the spirit alive.
Interesting. What else?
And don't underestimate the online world. Forums, social media groups, they're incredible resources now. You can find advice, source parts, connect with enthusiasts, literally anywhere on the planet. The community's gone global.
So looking back at the whole era, summing it up, it was clearly more than just a blip in car history. What's the lasting legacy?
I think the real takeaway is that the muscle car era was this unique cultural phenomenon. The cars were amazing, sure, engineering marvels in their own right.
Right.
But they symbolize so much more. That blend of art and engineering, that sense of freedom, the open road as adventure, they captured something about the American spirit at that time.
That feeling of possibility.
Exactly. That's why they became icons, I think. They resonated on a deeper level than just transportation.
So this deep dive, it's really not just looking back with rose-tinted glasses. It's appreciating a period of real innovation, maybe a bit of rebellion, that created something truly memorable.
Couldn't have said it better. It's something that still inspires designers, engineers, and, well, anyone who loves cars.
Leaves you with something to think about, doesn't it?
It really does. And, whether you're a total gearhead who knows every spec or someone just discovering this now, there's always more to find. Another story behind the chrome.
A world that keeps on giving. Maybe next time you hear that V8 rumble, you'll hear a bit more of the history behind it.
Yeah. It's an ongoing story, really. The story of power, style, and that call of the open road.